The golden afternoon sun was casting a soft glow through the living room window as it began to dip below the clouds. In the Thompson household, laughter echoed through the halls, a blend of joy, suspense, and a touch of rebellion. 7-year-old Emily Thompson, with her infectious laugh and endless imagination, had her dad, Ryan, fully caught up in her latest game. She'd gotten him to set aside his laptop, shrug off his usual focus on emails and spreadsheets, and join her in a world of epic adventure. After all, this was a race against time. Her mom, always punctual and precise, would be home soon, and she wanted to squeeze in every ounce of fun before then. Come on, Dad. Faster. One more round before Mom gets home. Emily squealed, her eyes wide and bright, her grin as mischievous as ever. Ryan let out a deep chuckle, his face creasing in a smile that only his daughter could inspire. He loved how imaginative and full of life Emily was. As soon as she got home from school, she'd managed to pull him away from work with her irresistible charm, convincing him to build a secret obstacle course in the middle of the living room. His days were often long and filled with deadlines and meetings, but his little girl had a way of grounding him, reminding him of the joy of simple things. They transformed the usually orderly living room into a grand adventure terrain, using every piece of furniture, blanket, and pillow they could get their hands on. Cushions were piled high, making mountains they had to scale. Throw blankets became rivers of lava to leap over, and toy cars were scattered across the floor, adding an extra challenge to maneuver through. The rules of the game were simple: cross from one end of the room to the other without falling into the lava or touching a car, all while moving as fast as possible. And if Ryan fell in, he had to dramatically sacrifice himself so that Emily could make it to the other side unscathed. They began their final round with a quick pep talk. Emily was clutching her dad's hand, her small fingers fitting perfectly in his as they plotted their strategy. "Okay, Dad," she whispered, pretending they were on a covert mission. "If we get through this round, we'll win. But if Mom gets home first," she let her words hang in the air, her eyes wide with mock horror. Ryan, trying to hold back his laugh, gave her a serious nod. "Then we'll be captured by the Queen of Clean, and she'll make us clean up this entire place," he whispered back, making Emily giggle. In their imagination, her mom was the queen, ruler of cleanliness and tidiness, and today's obstacle course was clearly something the queen would not approve of. With a deep breath, they set off. Emily, agile and sprightly, jumped from one cushion to another, her tiny arms flailing slightly to keep her balance. She let out a little gasp of excitement as she landed safely on solid ground with each jump. Ryan followed close behind, pretending to struggle as he tried to keep up with his daughter's quick pace. He made exaggerated sounds, pretending to almost fall, which only added to Emily's amusement.
"Dad."
"You can do it," she called out, offering her hand to help him over a particularly large pile of cushions. But as he reached for her, he pretended to wobble, sending himself sprawling to the floor with a loud, dramatic groan. "Oh no, I've fallen into the lava," he cried, his voice full of mock despair. Emily burst into laughter, dropping to her knees beside him.
"Dad, no."
"You can't fall now," she giggled, grabbing his arm and pulling him back to safety. The two of them burst out laughing as Ryan managed to pull himself back up with Emily's help, and they continued the game. With each jump and each step, their laughter grew louder, the room filled with joy and energy that was a perfect contrast to the usual calm and order of the house. Ryan hadn't had this much fun in years, and he couldn't help but marvel at how easily his daughter could turn an ordinary afternoon into something magical. As they neared the end of the course, a final challenge awaited them, a large armchair that they had to climb over without touching the ground. Emily eyed it with determination, her small fists clenched as she prepared to tackle the obstacle. She climbed up first, her face scrunched in concentration as she scrambled over the chair's arm, and then she looked back at her dad, who was pretending to hesitate. "Come on, Dad. You can do it," she cheered, holding out her hand to him once again. Ryan grinned and took her hand, letting her pull him up and over the chair with a dramatic flourish. They tumbled down onto the cushions on the other side, both of them laughing so hard that they could barely catch their breath. Just as they were celebrating their victory with a high five, they heard the unmistakable jingle of keys at the front door. Their eyes met, and for a moment, they both froze. The Queen of Clean had arrived. Emily's mom, Laura, stepped through the door, her eyes widening slightly as she took in the scene before her. The once tidy living room was now a chaotic maze of cushions, blankets, and toys, with her husband and daughter sitting in the middle of it all, both of them grinning like they'd just won the lottery. Laura raised an eyebrow, trying to hold back her smile. "Well, looks like I missed all the fun," she said, crossing her arms and giving them both a mock-stern look. Ryan and Emily exchanged a mischievous glance before Ryan shrugged with a playful grin. "Don't worry, honey, we saved one more round for you," he said, his tone lighthearted. Laura laughed, shaking her head as she walked over to join them. She knew that she'd come home to a bit of a mess, but seeing the joy on their faces made it more than worth it. Besides, she had to admit, a part of her missed the days when she used to join in on these kinds of adventures. So, with a small, knowing smile, she kicked off her shoes, grabbed Emily's hand, and let herself be pulled into the game. The three of them spent the rest of the evening playing, laughing, and creating memories that would last a lifetime.